Don't matter if you say you're not good at it. Learn it. The challenge is to learn it, but the most of all is to have fun. And if you really love it, take it serious.
Big up everybody. Welcome back to the channel. How does Frank Bruno, Lennox Lewis and that generation compare to this generation of fighters with the likes of Wardley, Dubois, Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury? That's the purpose of this video. Big up Lennox Lewis, Frank Bruno and all of these legends. Please make sure you like, share, comment and subscribe. So we're looking at the likes of Frank Bruno. This is Lennox Lewis, of course. But we're also looking at Frank Bruno and Lennox Lewis and also Mike Tyson. More on Mike Tyson in a bit. Okay. But we're looking at these legends of boxing generally, heavyweight boxing, world boxing, but also, sorry about that, heavyweight boxing, world boxing, but also the comparisons. You heard them, they're talking on Makhmedov, Lennox Lewis here, talking on Fury versus Makhmedov. Let me hear what you're saying.
What do you make of that stance from Tyson, thinking he won both Usyk fights and won in the trilogy with him?
Well,
credit to the Ring magazine.
Well, you could say he's a little delusional, but we all are delusional in some way.
There you go. So you're commenting on Tyson Fury saying that he may have won versus Usyk. And he's using the word delusional. Very strong words, but to be fair, Tyson Fury's not going to do anything about it. Talking about a former undisputed heavyweight champion, the longest reigning, in fact, between 1999 and 2024. And as I say, in the late 1980s through the 1990s, heavyweight boxing featured some of its most iconic figures, a period dominated by powerful punchers, evolving athletic styles and global reach. Three of the era's central figures were Frank Bruno, Lennox Lewis, Mike Tyson, each with distinct record styles and legacies that help shape the world. Frank Bruno, who I've shown you pictured here, was one of the most popular heavyweights, still is a popular heavyweight, known for his charismatic personality, fan connection and formidable punching power. Bruno's career was defined by resilience and title challenges. 40 wins, good record, 5 losses, 0 draws. One of the losses coming, of course, to Mike Tyson. I think it may have even been in America. 38 wins by knockout. And he also fought Lennox Lewis as well. Lennox Lewis did defeat him. Them two had a bit of back and forth, which probably even is reflective today. Old war wounds. So he was a perennial contender at the highest level, Frank Bruno was. Lone defeat outside world title competitions. A KO loss to James Bone Crusher Smith in '84. And he had fights, as I say, Mike Tyson for the WBA, WBC and IBF and the Ring heavyweight title. So that's 4, isn't it? In Las Vegas, 35-0 Tyson Den, 31 KO, stopped Bruno in the 5th round TKO, technical knockout. And then in 1993, so that was in 1989, so long ago, hay fever. Anyway, Lennox Lewis for the WBC heavyweight title, and Lewis defeated Bruno via, I just want to go on to Lennox Lewis's profile, via 3rd round TKO, a fight that marked Bruno's last world title attempt. So Bruno's legacy lies not only in his power, 38 KOs, that's significant, but in the gritty willingness. And I was watching an interview the other day. He's quite a humble chap, humble guy, sir, I should say, because he's much more senior to me. But he was saying that he still thinks that he could fit in modern heavyweights, but he doesn't put himself up too highly. But he was a world champion, so he doesn't need to cow down his thing. Do you know what I mean? He was obviously up there with the best of them. And obviously Mike Tyson, Iron Mike, we all know what Mike Tyson looks like. 3rd heavyweight, undefeated, unified heavyweight titles, amassed 50 professional bouts with a high KO. And obviously there was some disqualifications. Evander Holyfield was one, I think, for the biting. And he fought Bruno in both 89 and 96. dominating both. Round 5, 89, round 3, 96. Lennox Lewis, 2002, got defeated by Lennox Lewis in the 8th round KO. And other historic fights, Buster Douglas, which had a defeat. And I think Tyson said he should have taken that one more seriously. So, Lennox bridged British and North American boxing scenes with dual national Canada and UK, forged a legendary career as a heavyweight. I would say, from what I've seen, Lennox is alongside Muhammad Ali, in my view, because he just went against everyone in his time, you know. Muhammad Ali edged it. I think Ali had a lot more to do. I'm not just doing it because of his cultural impact, but I think Ali probably edges it. But on the day, in fact, if Lennox catches you, he probably would knock out the brother still, you know. He would have but big up Ali. I think Ali's still the GOAT, to be fair. Muhammad Ali. And Lennox's career included victories over Hassim Rahman, David Tua, Francis Boa, Michael Grant, and others, solidifying his reign in the late 1990s and early 2000s. So you got Tyson, explosive power, short range aggression, early knockouts. You got Lennox Lewis, a technical boxer with an rangy jab, strategic pacing and finishing power. And Bruno, heavy hands and crowd pleasing style, but less tactical refinement than his elite contemporaries. Yeah, so I would say that Tyson they beat him, so they clearly more than edged it in terms of being more successful. And then moving on to the sort of modern heavyweights, you've got Alexander Usyk, who I've covered before on the channel. You saw him standing there with Lennox Lewis earlier on. 2012 Olympic gold medal, and I remember this, I've memorised this, it was at middleweight. Was it? Then he went to cruiserweight and then became an undisputed champion before moving up to heavyweight. And Usyk's professional record still is 24-0, 15 knockouts. Not a significant knockout ratio as some of the others, but he's beaten people where it matters. Because, you know, a lot of times heavyweight fighters will try to go out for that knockout punch, but if somebody's dismantling you tactically and saving energy, bringing it on, testing your weaknesses, that's the type of very chess-like fighting style that Usyk has, defensively and offensively. Using your energy to go for that major knockout might not always be the answer when you can just kind of go through the rounds and get the win at the end. And he's in doing so, Usyk's defeated Tyson Fury once by split decision May 2024 and then unanimous December 2024, and that's what Lennox Lewis thinks Tyson's delusional about that. Fair enough, I hear it. 4-belt era, WBA, WBC, IBF, WO in nearly a quarter. So Usyk is the undisputed. Defeated Anthony Joshua, so he took that from Lennox Lewis. Once by unanimous decision and once by split decisions. So and then he beats Daniel Dubois twice. So essentially what you've got here, Usyk has beat everybody in his generation. He gave them an opportunity to fight again. Tyson, Anthony Joshua, and also Daniel Dubois. So they've had, the 6 fights. He's just won them all. What can you say? You beat who's in front of you, and he beat all the best in his generation. I don't rank him at the same level as Lennox Lewis personally, but he's a close third on probably the all-time list with Muhammad Ali, Lennox Lewis, and then Tyson had probably a bit too many losses, but in terms of explosiveness, Tyson, I think Usyk would try to use Tyson's aggression against him, but Tyson's very technical guy. People think that it's just all power, but he's actually a technically advanced fighter. Mike Tyson is, to be fair. All right. So Usyk starts a typical for a heavyweight: southpaw footwork, sharp counterpunching, high fight IQ, outmaneuver bigger opponents, outlanding, hallmark of boxing mastery. Tyson Fury, I rate him highly. Lineal heavyweight, he's fighting Arslan Makhdadov soon. 34 he's had 2 losses to Usyk now, but he has had wins over Deontay Wilder twice, so that's significant. Dillian White, and I'll be honest with you, that's why I've not really put Wilder, although AJ's not fought Wilder to be fair, but I've not really put Wilder in the sort of top list as going against Otto Wallin. Exceptional size, rangy footwork, Fury is 6'9", and he's done bits. As I said, I've covered. He's had a bit of a falling out with his father, who's always supported his boxing. But John Fury thinks that Tyson Fury, he should call it a day. Basically, that's the bottom line, really, as far as John Fury's. What John Fury's saying. John Fury's saying that their relationship's destroyed or something because that nature. But is what it is. Is what it is. 2-time unified heavyweight world champion. Not undisputed, but winning the IBF title later, the WBA and WO, and he'd beaten Vladimir Klitschko in 2017. I've not even referred to Klitschko. I'm kind of focusing on the these fighters that I am, but the Klitschko had a really good generation as well. I should say that's Joshua who beat Vladimir Klitschko in 2017. But Joshua's had some setbacks. But I'd like what he did with the Lewis. What's it? What's that fighter's name? The unathletic fighter that he fought in America, because he came back and got his belt. Basically, it'll come to me in a moment. But Anthony Joshua hasn't done so well more recently against Usyk and Daniel Dubois. But yeah, he had that influence of fight with Jake Paul, which I don't regard as anything, to be fair. But Joshua had his time doing his bit as well. So when we're looking at a comparison, size, skill and style evolution as a starting category, when you compare with the heavyweights of the classic era, Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis, Frank Bruno, top fighters are generally taller these days with longer reach. Modern heavyweights, Usyk is a bit shorter. He's an exception, 6'3". But there's a diversity of styles when you're comparing a 6'9" to a 6'3". Obviously, Joshua's 6'6". Usyk's southpaw precision and movement differ markedly from brute force, and that's what I was saying earlier. That define many heavyweight generations. Usyk's boxing IQ, varied angles, epitomise the modern technical evolution. So this is an era that's marked, and that the classic era was unified fewer belts, WBA, WBC, IBF, leading to title belts with singular champions. But today, 4-belt system, adding the WBO, creates both opportunities and complications for diversion unification. Though Usyk's accomplishment of unifying is quite significant. Dominance against top competition. So the modern era is deep, fewer global unified championship tours, and then the legacy and the ringside impact. In terms of legacy impact, each modern fighter stands out. Usyk, best. Fury, charismatic. Joshua, global box office star. And compared to classic style like Tyson, ferocious power. Lewis, size and ring IQ. So that's it. Lewis quite tall as well, but also the ring IQ, and Bruno public contender. So that's kind of the relationship with the public. The modern generation is a bit more technically diversified, a globalized competition. You've got age of social media and stuff that has some effect on things, I guess. And I should casual shout out to David Hay. Actually, I rate him. He beat that giant, 7-foot giant. That was really remarkable. I think David Hay's between 6'2" and 6'3", maybe at most 6'4". But he beat that giant. But he's somebody who certainly comes into the contention. So yeah, that's the. And then if we go into even more modern with people like Wardley and Moses Otama, you've got a kind of different blend. So we got Fabio, you got Moses Otama, Fabio Wardley. So just as a breakdown, Fabio Wardley is undefeated WBO champion. Agit Caballero is the undefeated contender for the WBC interim. And Daniel Dubois is a former IBF titleist. Filip Hrgović, technical contender with 1 loss. And you got Zihiriel Zhang, probably a bit lower. Martin Bakole, Moses Itoma. And I'm going to mention this brother as well, Lawrence Okoli. Because I don't know what it is. Lawrence has got a reputation, I don't know why, of not having the kind of really, I don't know, standout fights. He's winning, but not in a way that's, I don't know, grabbing attention. That's what that's a criticism of him. But I mean, you just beat who's in front of you, really. But yeah, I'd rate Lawrence Okoli quite highly. I think, I'm not sure whether they're giving him the opportunity to fight. That's kind of whether he's getting the opportunity to, because the Bridger rate, which is just the weight below heavyweight, he's the champion of that, as I understand it. But I think they need to give Lawrence Okoli some more opportunities to fight, man. This guy, he used to work in McDonald's, I think, when he was younger, and he's come up all this way and he's boxed. I know, I've seen him rapping as well. But yeah, man, give Lawrence Okoli a chance. Efe Ajagba, Richard Torres, and Murat Gaziev. So you got a mix today. Moses Vitorma's a rising star, 13-0, 11 KOs, one of the most hyped young heavyweights of the decade, born 2004. Southpaw, impressive power, athleticism, holds reasonable weights and the WO Intercontinental and Commonwealth heavyweight title. He started 23-second knockout, Wembley Arena. Remember, Carl Froch is always saying that I think he filled up the Wembley Arena with 60,000. I wonder if Carl Froch will fight John Fury one day. We'll see. All by early TKO. And Tormo's in the top 10. And his upcoming fight is a 10-round clash with Jermaine Franklin, a tough, unstopped veteran. So we'll see what happens with that, you know. Usyk in contenders and Wardley. Now, as I said in my video recently, Usyk wants to fight after his kickboxing fight with Verhoeven. He wants to fight the winner of Wardley, Dubois, and then he does want. Apparently, Usyk wants the trilogy with Tyson Fury. David Haye, as I said, I mentioned him earlier. Significant for his Nikolay Valuev, that was it, to claim the WBA heavyweight title. So he did very well at cruiserweight actually, but he beat the giant to win WBA heavyweight title. Enzo Maccarinelli at cruiserweight, he had been at cruiserweight. Then Hayes' influence is also cultural, media presence, outspoken persona. So top heavyweights last 5 years, I would say Alexander Usyk, 24-0, Fabio Wardley, Ajit Caballero, Daniel Dubois, Filip Hrgović, and Ziel Zhang, Martin Bakole, Moses Tama, Richard Torres. So you've had a bit of an evolution of the heavyweight division in the 2020s. Noteworthy for a bit more depth, with elite athletes emerging from Europe, Africa, North America, and elsewhere, where it used to be one of two dominant figures controlling the lineal titles. And then, as I say, you've got the Okolis and the Torres coming around as well. And Chisora, who's got, I mean, I would say it. I would say Chisora is more of a. He's fought people, but he's lost a lot. So Chisora's more of a journeyman. I'll be honest. He is more of a journeyman, but he's one to be fair. He's fighting Wilder soon. We'll see what happens in that fight. Whether either of them, whether Chisora retires as he's promised to do. So yeah, we'll see what happens. There's a lot of UK heritage and influence in the fights with the classic figures like Haye and Chisora continue to shape global narratives. And that was a funny one for Haye and Chisora because they had that press conference. He glassed me or something along those lines, and then I think Haye actually manages Chisora now. So it's funny how things turn around. But yeah, man, in terms of a comparison, if I just do just to summarise it, a comparison between that era, the Lennox Lewis, the Frank Bruno, and this era, the kind of Wardley, Dubois, Tyson Fury, which era is better? Which era is better? Let me think. I'll think about it. I would say Lennox Lewis, overall a better boxer, and he defeated both Tyson and Frank Bruno. and I think he would finish this generation as well. I wouldn't say this generation is as strong as the older generation of fighters. I kind of feel, there's better nutrition these days and stuff like that. More advanced, maybe fighting skills, techniques, etc. However, I think Lennox Lewis is just a different category. You got to, and the reason why I'm saying that is the length of time, because obviously Usyk's got that 24-0, and 24 fights isn't that much. But whereas as I said, if you look at what was that, between 1999 and 2024, that's to not have any undisputed champions for that period of time. Where is it? 1999 and 20. So that's 25 years, no undisputed heavyweight champions. So that kind of speaks for itself in terms of what's been happening. And I know you can make arguments about the politics affecting who's fighting who and so forth. I think that would be a fair criticism, or which might have impacted on the best fighting the best. And I think with Turki Al Sheikh, you're kind of starting to see that with Riyadh season now. But that aside, I think across the period of 24 years, not to have any other undisputed heavyweight boxing champions of the world does speak volumes in terms of the levels of skill. Because if there's somebody good enough, and I think maybe Usyk could enter into it now, then that means there wasn't anybody as good to beat everyone and retain the belts. They're losing belts. So that's the answer, really. Lennox was tougher. That's it. Lennox's generation was tougher, and he survived it with undisputed heavyweight championship position between 1999 and 2024. So that's my view. The older generation's better. If you disagree with me, do put it in the comments below. But you know what? For now, I mean, look at them there. The two undisputed, Usyk and Lennox Lewis. Yeah, man. Anyway, please make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. If your views are different to mine, please do let me know. But for now, I'm done talking.